Hi.
Tapping and dancing.
Happy
We're tap dancing.
Happy Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Hey, we did it.
Wednesday, July 15th, 2020, the year we all want to forget.
Yes.
Right.
We have to say, we've been pretty good with the days of the week, Naz. We don't need Andy Cuomo. We don't need Andy to tell us that it's Saturday, because it's usually the day.
Yeah, no, he's big on Saturday routine.
Well, happy Wednesday and welcome
Happy
to
Wednesday.
Live from Rabs, from inside Rabs Country Lanes.
Yep.
Today, your hosts, Nazareth, Frank, and the one and only
I'm back.
Joe Cal is
JC.
finally
I'm back
in the studio.
The great JC.
Yep.
And it's not a bad year for everybody.
Well,
I think our guest today may have a year he'd like to remember right now.
so far so good for him.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah, definitely.
He certainly, for sure. A year and a half, so to speak, to kind of remember.
Yeah.
Good 2020 after. We'll talk to him.
Yeah, we'll talk to him.
Hey, Ronnie.
Hi, Ronnie. So, Joe, welcome back. We're
Thank you.
excited to have you back.
I'm happy to be back at my home away from home with my extended family. And you know what? It's just been a crazy last 2 weeks. My job is driving me absolutely. I'll be 58 in a couple of months. My job has me feeling like I'm 88. I have aged.
Well,
it's beating me up, and it's aging me, and I'm at the end of my proverbial rope.
That's why Joe wears the hat all the time.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's also time for another haircut because it's been about 4.5 weeks now. So after my underground haircut, when the barbershops are closed,
now you can go.
But
totally,
now I can.
You could go.
I can go
now.
legit now. Back to no more underground haircuts. But it's been a crazy couple of weeks with work, and we've had a few things around our house that have gone a little awry, electrical work and plumbing work.
And that none of the actually, I have a plumber working inside right now.
Well,
so if you need a referral, he's a great guy.
And I could say the same thing, as I had the plumber at our house not once but twice in a 4-day span, because we had some major problems with some water that we found leaking, and I'm like, is that a stain on our ceiling in the basement? Quite. Yes, it is. So it was. We caught it just in time.
You
though.
see the stain, you're like, oh, where'd it come from? And then then the little bubble comes.
Well, it didn't get to the bubble yet, so we caught it just in time. And then, of course, right after that, our outlet in the bathroom, which has been a house of horrors lately, the outlet broke. So I had to get an electrician, because if I try to do any wiring, I'll end up looking like Don King.
That's the one thing.
YouTube. Just YouTube.
No, not electrical.
As much as Frank is making fun of me because I will YouTube everything.
Stuff. Yeah, I know.
Right, but electrical work. Yeah, I pretty much leave that to the professional.
Yeah,
and some more advanced like plumbing. Like right now, we have a plumber inside.
Some things I
got it to a point, and I'm like, listen, this needs to be right. So
let the pros
let's call
do it.
in somebody that actually knows what they're doing.
Professionals.
Yeah, call
that's what they're for. That's what they do.
They don't like people like me that are, it's not like I called them in to clean up my bad job. It was just the finishing.
You did a beautiful job on the flooring, and now you need the plumber to do his job.
He's got to
piece it all together. Yeah. Because you put the vanity in. I mean,
I did all right.
Yeah,
I did okay.
That's good work.
It was a little tiny bit.
I take a nice picture when it's all done.
That's good work.
Speaking of professionals, we don't want you to lose sight. The Pro Shop is open for services.
Yes, on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So on our page below this video, a couple videos down, you'll see this post with a couple links. You can schedule an appointment to get your. I was going to say bowl service. Well, your equipment service.
This is a family show, so we have to keep it clean.
Well, I mean, it's not like he's, it's not lying.
Jimmy will go to your locker, take your stuff out, put stuff in. Right. You can come in. You can't throw some bowls. There's no oil in the lanes. But we can get you set up for when we're ready to roll.
When you're ready to go.
And some of you have taken your stuff and gone over the bridge to go practice, and good for you. And we know we can't wait to get back bowling here whenever.
Yeah.
That might actually be
much sooner than we all want.
So, Joe, you were talking about work, and partially related to your work. Last night I turned on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Because I was gonna watch Hamilton for like the 6th time.
The 100th time.
I was flipping through what they had available, and I watched actually 4 episodes at least of the Imagineers.
Okay.
And it was a great series. It started out with the beginning with Walt Disney and how he came up with the ideas for Disney World, Disneyland first,
Right. Yep.
and Michael Eisner came in,
Oh, Michael Eisner.
and it was really interesting to know like the real backstory.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Although Disney may be driving you crazy.
Oh,
right
they're
now.
driving me quite nuts. But the point is, a guy like me that's been there for 40 years, they want you to drink the Kool-Aid, the Disney Kool-Aid.
Right.
Of course.
I don't drink the Disney Kool-Aid.
And
I don't,
it's
but
a different,
Joe,
different place.
No, I know.
Look forward. Yeah.
I know. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's a great
It's a
place.
different-
But
The Imagineers series, so it started with a DVD set, and I've got them all because behind the scenes,
Right.
I love the behind the scenes stuff, and
yeah.
it's pieces from that series. I mean, the piles like this, but they're unbelievable to see the back end
And
of
just
what
how when somebody
magic
is
yes, the magic.
so driven
Yeah.
that the things that he did to get Disneyland done,
Oh yeah.
he sold his, he sold his house, he cashed in a life insurance policy.
Big risk.
I mean, yeah, he took a big risk, and
Yep, he did.
nobody, even when they were like 3/4 of the way through the project, he went to the crew and he said, "Listen, there is nothing here that anybody's going to pay 15 cents to come and see."
Right.
So even though what he was building was so incredible,
Yeah.
he still had doubts himself of his
He
vision.
did.
But it was, I knew, I'd follow Disney a little bit, but that series,
Yeah, you get to see it from the ground up. how it
highly
all started.
recommend
Yep.
it. And not, it's not how, it's not a fluff thing.
No.
They covered
Yeah.
the mistakes that they made,
Oh, yeah.
and when Eisner came in and they built the Euro Disney, and that
Yeah.
was kind of not very successful.
Well, the stocks weren't good that
Yeah,
year.
and but it was just interesting. It was really interesting. Highly
well,
recommended.
Disneyland Paris at the time.
Dis-
Now
well, they
now Euro
changed
Disney,
it, right? They changed it
That's
to
right.
Paris
Yes.
to try to make it more appealing to the French,
Yes, they did.
because they went through a really hard economic time, and
Yeah.
that really kind of killed the park. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was
It's good.
interesting.
Yeah,
Just-
it's
I
good.
wanted to toss that out there while you were here.
Thank you.
And
Quick,
you
I
picked
got
some Disney.
I did get on Disney Plus last night and finally sat and watched Hamilton.
There you go.
Well done, kudos to them. I have to say, it's definitely different.
Yeah, right.
Just the original cast, let alone the production that was done, was different than seeing it on stage.
Absolutely.
And I would imagine, if you listen to the cast recording and then you compare it to that performance, it is different. And a cast performance is always going to be
It's
different.
pretty close.
Oh yeah. However, point one, you thrive off a live audience,
Absolutely.
and two, I can't imagine the pressure. They filmed that a year after opening the show.
Right.
Okay, so 2006 they started previews in fall of 15. No.
That's about right.
Fall of 15 or
Yeah.
fall of 14?
Well, it's not,
No, I think it was 15.
15.
Yeah.
Oh, so less than a year later, they
Right.
filmed this for
Yeah.
TV, not knowing what they were really going to do with it.
Right.
And the pressure is on. You're
Yeah.
not only
Yeah.
performing for this audience that's in front of you,
Right.
these thousands of people, but the potential audience that comes next.
Right.
And they were awesome. It was really done very well. We talked about it, the focus points that you certainly see.
Right. And
So-
they did also talk about, because they filmed it, I think, over 2 days of the live show, and then they did a separate filming for some of the shots that they couldn't get live.
Right.
So,
But
yeah,
you never know.
I just
You don't.
thought, but you really don't. And I kind of liked having the feedback from the live audience at certain points in the show.
Yeah.
And but listen, I thought it was.
Well, if you're a Hamilton fan,
I
you know,
obviously have
yeah.
not seen it yet.
More
But
importantly, this Jamopi's got his Yankee shirt on today.
you
know, we
Gee, I wonder
We
why I
did
put my Yankee
briefly
shirt on.
talk about this. Forget about the weekend. After we'll come back to that. But I do want to share for our Met fans out there,
There you go.
the New York. You could have your photo in
I
the
love
stands at
There you go.
Citi Field. $86. Get it? Get
Oh,
it?
I did. Yeah, $86.
Is a donation to this Mets Foundation, and you have to. They've lots of rules.
Yeah.
In a Met jersey.
Right.
You have to be wearing a Met jersey
Oh,
or
I didn't
shirt
know
for
that.
your photo.
Ah.
So check it out, Mets.com, where you can put yourself in the stands during a game.
Nice.
They don't guarantee you getting on TV,
But you're in
I
the
don't-
stands.
yeah, you're in
Okay.
the stands.
who cares? You're in the stands. You're there for all whatever how many games they're going to play in their hometown.
Right.
You have many.
I still think that's I just think the idea of it is great.
I think it's also
I
very
think it
funny.
would be
I want to get hit. So I want to get it that it's got a dent in me, and I want the ball to go along with it.
I think it would be great if at least if you know, well, honestly, you don't get on TV, it's no big deal, at least to me. But at least if they show you, they send you a picture
Of your cutout.
of your cutout in your seat,
Absolutely.
I think it would be great.
Absolutely.
Rob, we should pitch in and put Joe in a
Oh,
and do it.
Rob!
Yeah, that's my
I'm
friend
in.
right there.
Frankie,
That's my
$43.
friend.
I'm in.
That's
We
a
gotta
good
make
friend
it
of
happen.
mine. Thanks, Rob. I appreciate it.
So
That's my daughter's godfather right there. You see where his allegiances are. Thank you very
yeah,
much.
it's Pro Bowler Saturday.
Yes, on a Wednesday.
On a
On a
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And we've got a special guest with us today.
Brunch with Sean.
Brunch with Sean. I like it. Hey, Sean.
Hey, good morning.
And Sean has.
What's up, Sean?
How are you today?
I'm doing great. My oldest wanted to come down and say good morning, and she wants me to play with her.
Good morning.
Wait a little bit. So,
Oh, how cute, Daddy. Do you make little videos too?
oh yeah, we do everything you can think of down here, right?
I can't.
Yeah,
Nice.
She's cute. I can't
She's
believe
got all her
how
dollhouses and everything set up. So
Yeah, I just don't want
Very
the.
cool.
I want the button. I want the one with the slide in the pool.
she wants a new one. So I guess Daddy better bowl good this weekend.
That's it.
Oh, Daddy just won a few bucks, so you know
Sounds like that's a little
that
work to
certainly
do.
doesn't help.
Yep.
Hey, how old are we? And what is your name? She's the oldest.
Is that
This is
Kaylee?
the oldest. This is Kaylee. She'll be 7 in September on September 6th.
Oh, wow! Happy early birthday!
Happy
A couple
birthday.
months away. Have no idea what we're gonna do for the birthday party.
Yeah.
It's a sleepover with my friends and a JoJo sleepover party.
Yeah, you hope so.
You.
That's what's important. She knows what she wants to do.
Thank God she's got her mother's looks, right?
Thank God, you're correct. And then our second is Olivia. She'll be 2 August 8th. And then we just had our third June 9th.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So we were talking a little while ago. This is one of the longest stretches you've had being home.
Yeah, so when I came home from Vegas in March, I stayed at home for 81 days until I went to Florida for the PBA Strike Derby and the PBA Summer Clash. I was gone for 6 days. I drove 4 of those days. And then I've been home since June 10th, so I've been home another month. And then I leave this Friday here in a couple of days to go back to Jupiter for the PBA Tour Finals Saturday and Sunday on CBS Sports Network. And then starting Monday, the new PBA King of the Lanes, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night on Fox Sports 1. So really excited to bowl again and be on television and hopefully give everyone a show. I'm just really hopeful that my lower back heals up before I go.
Yeah, I like how even in the last show you're talking about how you're the old guy, but you're really not.
Well, I'm old. Trust me, I would guess that I'm one of the 10 oldest players on tour, which at 37, almost 38, you would never think that. But it's pretty surprising. I've been out there for 15 years now, and you look at these kids, they don't feel any pain and, free for all it. I cannot wait to see and hear their stories like I have right now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and we've talked about that a lot with our guests, how the tour has gotten younger, and you've got this new group, and it's a totally different group of young athletes coming through and bowling on the tour. But you were that guy, and not that long ago, and you still are young.
Yeah.
You're still vocal, and you still put on a show. Which
Absolutely.
I mean, I want you to go back. The bowling comes back, and you're ready to rock and roll. The Strike Derby, which looks like was painful. It was a little painful to watch you
I don't know how you guys did that. That was exhausting to watch. Forget about trying to bowl.
And then you go out and you win a title. I mean, how did that feel? Get back on the list.
No, it's been pretty crazy. I would say that Kyle Troop is the one that really was tired during the PBA Strike Derby more than anything, because he was our guinea pig the day before, trying to test it on the 2 lanes, 3 lanes, and everything else. And I feel for Kyle because he practiced a boatload as Bill and Tommy and they wanted us to do it. We were like, no. Use these kids. We've thrown plenty of shots. But, yeah, what a blast to bowl, 2 minutes nonstop, throw as many strikes as possible. I had a really good, qualifying round, first round, and then I just lost focus the second round against Prather where, I had 7 out of the first 10 or 11 strikes, and then I didn't strike the last 7 shots. Really pretty disappointing. I feel like I might have won both events that day if that could have happened.
Yeah, well, you put on a good show.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
pretty impressive to watch. So if you went back and had to redo that event, what would you change?
What would you change?
What do you think? Wouldn't Sean? Because I know Sean's opinionated. What would Sean think it should look like?
I'm never opinionated. I just tell it how it is. Whether it's real, right? Is that opinionated? Okay.
Same thing.
Like I said, I lost focus in the last 7 shots where I was just trying to throw shots instead of quality shots. Those guys were getting 17, 18, 20 shots off, and I was trying to keep up. Being the old guy, trying to keep up in the back of the pack. And as the lanes were transitioning so much, and that's why the final round was only 6 or 7 strikes to win, where the semifinals were you needed 10, 11, or 12 to get through. And, Prather and I only threw 7 and 8. It was getting to that point where the lanes were really difficult, and you just needed to make quality shots. So just would have been nice to settle down a couple minutes, throw some better shots, grab the right ball instead of just grabbing the ball and making better shots.
Wow. Yeah, that was quite a thing to behold and wow. And I got to give you guys credit because both of those events were a little different than what you normally used to bowling head to head. And the way you guys handled it, that's why you guys are the pros that you are.
Yeah, and you know what? Probably next year, look at what you've learned from the first year.
Yeah.
Well, the first time around, it's like you said, you just trying to get up there and keep up and just throw shot after shot.
It was quite
now you can understand more of a premium on making good shots. So
yeah, that's
lesson
very true.
learned.
That was good, Sean. That was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you do it at 37. Try doing that when you're 57. It's going to be even tougher.
Well, I'll be the first to say, because I have been opinionated about it. At 57 years old, if I'm still bowling on national tour, I better earn my way there, and it better be by winning or being in the top 10 in points. I love our seniors to death. Johnny, Walter, Parker, Pete, Norm, you name it. But there's a reason why there's the new shift, right, of age and demographics, and why the PBA and whatnot has done some special events of the past with the younger generation, and they found a way to get the players that have won in it or qualified through points. Because when you're on television, they want to see a show. They want to see the best players in the world. They want to see the most electrifying players in the world. And like I said, it's no offense to the seniors, but the senior players are a lot quieter, right? They're more mellow. They do their job, and they do it very well. And they're great bowlers, and it's not that we don't want to watch them compete. It's just the fact that they don't bring the energy like they used to. That's why Pete has had such a great run until the last probably 4 years. Was even at 50 years old when he won the Tournament of Champions, you didn't think he was 50 years old on that television show. He was acting like a 30-year-old. Hey, I'm in your face. Come get it.
Yeah.
And that's where I get in trouble with my opinion. Again, I honestly don't care. It's my career. I say what I want to say. I'm trying to do the best things I can for our sport on and off the lanes. I'm never trying to tear anybody down. I've always been trying to help, where I've always included seniors in my, like when I worked for the past company I worked for, I included seniors in my clinics because there still was a need for them. It just is what it is.
Yep.
So sure. Do you watch golf?
Oh yeah, absolutely, love it.
Okay, so do you think that a show? Obviously, the new thing now is the guys that can drive the ball ridiculous.
350.
Right, 350 average.
Rice in the shambles.
Last week, right?
350. Yeah. I need a cannon.
But don't you think it's still interesting to have guys like maybe Phil Mickelson, or guys that can still make the shots. They may not be driving the ball 350 yards,
Right.
but they still hang in there. And I think that kind of makes it interesting too to be in the mix.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I don't mind having them a part of some events. For example, we have 3 or 4 seniors in the PBA league, and you've got players that say we need to get rid of them. Well, at the same time, you still need a few of them, but you need the ones that are, I hate to say this word, but relevant, right? Ones that are making cuts every week. Bowling pro, they bowled pro-ams for years, which God bless them. I don't know how they did it before events, after events, whatever the case is. But when you're trying to promote a sport, you're looking for enthusiasm, electrifying people, charisma, energetic, say what they want to say. Don't be afraid and feel like they're going to get penalized for saying something. And that's where you've got this new blue blood of players that are they're fearless. Most of them are still living at home. They don't have home mortgage payments. They don't have car payments. They do. It's just a different lifestyle for these kids. They don't treat it as a job, so to say, even though it's kind of like a job, but it's not a day in, hey, okay, I'm going to work 9 to 5. But it's so crazy. And then I think about the sponsor opportunities, right? If you're looking at United Airlines, Budweiser, Hilton, a Mercedes-Benz, are you promoting Phil Mickelson, who's been an unbelievable player, multi-time champion, or do you want Rory McIlroy or Justin Thomas that's going to be around for the next 20 years?
Right.
And that's why you see the different sponsors for their sport. Their older sponsors take care of their senior tour. We don't have that. We need that. We need those sponsors to be attracted to the young ladies, the young players. And I'll be the first to admit, I'll be jealous as hell that these guys are going to get them because I didn't. But hopefully it takes care of the whole sport and not just one individual. We've got some of those individuals in our sport where if they would have blossomed the sport better, our whole sport would be doing way better than just themselves.
Right.
So do you think that that's taken away some opportunities from your group from you guys?
Absolutely. I could say it firsthand that I've tried some big time sponsors. I was pretty much in the door with Budweiser at one point. They just didn't know how to sell it, right? And I had it to where it was going to go to every player on my PBA team league. Same thing with T-Mobile. They were all for it. I had a lady pretty high up. I was sponsored by them for a year on tour, where I wore their logo, had a cell phone, but it came down to image. And it, unfortunately, I say this a lot, and I get criticized from some of my peers that I always say that we should have a great image, and that was because of what Parker Bone taught me and Johnny Petraglia and some of the greats. That if your image is right and you're doing the right things, then you'll be taken care of eventually down the road, right? And you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But when they walked into the building, they couldn't tell who the pro was and who the amateur was. And that was because the younger generation, unfortunately, didn't care about what their image looked like. They still dressed nice, but I couldn't tell you if, for example, we use Kyle Troop. If you walked into a building and Kyle Troop was wearing jeans and a T-shirt, you wouldn't think he's a professional athlete and one of the best players in the world currently, right? And 10 years ago, you definitely wouldn't have thought that. So how do you promote that? And that's where, wearing slacks and nice shoes and signing autographs and bowling pro-ams and everything else. So you got to have a balance. I'm starting to learn at an older age now, hanging out with some of the kids, that it's okay to wear some shorts. But at the same time, you wear the shorts when you're outside of the bowling center, I think. Do the right thing, sign autographs, take the pictures. Yes, it could be terrifying of being in there for 4 or 5 hours. Junior Gold, for example, I think it's a great event, but I think they just kill the players, the top players. Spending 14 hours in a building signing autographs is not perfect for anybody. For example, Jason Belmonte is our best bowler in the world. This guy shouldn't have to stay in a building for 15 hours doing autographs. Have him do it all week long, where it's spread out.
Right. Yep.
And get your money's worth, right? I know Jason's there for quite a bit of time, but use him in one bowling center one day and the next bowling center the next day, and let the players see him as they go through, instead of having 3-4 hour wait lines. Yeah, it's cool to say that day, but I hate, even when I was one of the best players in the world and still kind of am, in my prime a decade ago, I didn't want to stand for 12 hours, not get any food, not be able to drink. I got criticized for going to the bathroom once. I mean, we're people, right? So I don't know. I've got a lot of opinions on certain things, so.
At the same time, though, I mean, there's the one thing that we always talk about in our sport is the accessibility to our athletes, which is good and bad, right? So sometimes, to me, I think it's a wonderful thing. You have access. We can invite you to our centers, and you can run clinics, and you have that opportunity where in many other sports you don't see professional athletes in that same light.
Right.
So I think that's definitely a good thing, and for these kids, it's an amazing experience.
Absolutely.
But to your point, I'm sure it's taxing.
Yep.
On the image side, I think you guys, collectively as a group, have done a good job. We talked about the ladies, specifically on the ladies' side.
Mm-hmm.
They've done a very good job at positioning themselves, creating a new image for the PWBA. And I think, and from what I'm seeing on the PBA side, it seems to me that that's what we want too. And you guys have certainly helped make that focus important. Hey, watching you guys bowl in shorts was odd. Never seen you guys bowl in shorts before. But you know what? It was part of the whole atmosphere. The set looks cool. You guys were having fun. It was just a different type of show and experience. But it's all about delivering that experience to the to the consumer.
For sure. I mean, the only thing was kind of missing was like a bucket of buds behind them. You would have thought they were going to go and just have a couple of beers behind. I mean, it was just like having fun.
Yeah, we weren't drinking beer. We were drinking plenty of water though that day. You talk about the women. They've done an unbelievable job. They've got a set sort of rules. They follow them. They respect them. They respect their peers. They respect their tournament directors. And unfortunately, we've got some different thoughts on tour, right? And this goes from top to bottom, from the older players to the middle age to the younger players, where we voice our opinion. Sometimes we don't agree with what is going on, so we just won't obey by it. And when we see fines, we don't pay them. So you lose that respect from the tournament directors and the organizations, and you lose that opportunity to have some bigger and better things. So I think the women are definitely on the right track. It's unfortunate that their season was, canceled this year.
Yep.
USBC just canceled everything else for the rest of the year anyway. I think we're just in a weird time for all of sports. I think personally, basketball and baseball and football are still in a lot of trouble, even though they're in bubbles and being tested every other day. This disease is unavoidable. You're going to occur it or go around somebody somewhere, somehow through your daily life over a day or a week.
That's true. I mean, golfers seems to be doing okay with it, but even a few of the golfers have tested, positive, where they had to actually miss a couple of events. So, but golfers, you can kind of distance, so it's not terrible. So at least that's back. But again, they're taking the tests every week, maybe twice a week. So again, to Sean's point, I think the other sports might be in a little trouble.
Yeah, golf's dealing with it too, right? Where they've had three or more players test positive. They all played together last week in the same group.
Right.
And they said if they would make the cut, they would play by a single and whatnot, which really doesn't make any sense. But it's kind of like bowling, where you have two on one pair, one on the next. Who knows? If they had, I'd be shocked. Say Tiger Woods got it, and then he's leading the field this Sunday, and he's in the final group by himself. I don't know if sports would like that, right? Like with television coverage like that, with the sponsors like that.
Right.
You're up for, and football's going to see it. Football's rules of you guys can play a game for 3 hours, but then you can't hug each other at the end and exchange jerseys. That doesn't make sense to me.
Right. And that's true. That's true. So before we get into some of the questions, one of our house bowlers here, Mr. Rob Butler, gave you a pretty nice shout out here, Sean. Frankie, can you just scroll up a little bit? There we go. So Rob said that he bowled with you at his first U.S. Open at Carolier in 2007. He had no idea what he was doing. And despite your elite status at that time, and still today, you couldn't have been more nice to go and help him and kind of point him the right way, because it was his first time bowling in a pro event. So You're a gentleman.
Well, I appreciate that. And Rob, good to hear from you. That 2007, wow, what a long time ago.
Long time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple good runs there at the U.S. Open at Carolier. Man, it just should have won one probably. But
Yep.
I'm glad it's nice to see those comments. You don't see them enough. Sometimes you get bashed on social media for just the things you see. I had to block a guy on Twitter the other day just because I was tired of seeing all of his negative comments. Because we grow, right? Somebody will probably say something that I said today is negative, and they will trash me for it.
Right.
And it is what it is. I can't make everyone love me. I can't make everybody hate me, even though I can probably do a pretty good job of that. But I'm here to do the best thing I can for myself in my position, but at the same time help the game grow and give back any way possible.
Right. That's great. Well, I'm going to piggyback off that, Sean, because a few years after that, me and my friends bowled in the Pro-Am there. We used to go and bowl the Pro-Am a lot. And it was maybe 2012, 2013, around then. You had the unfortunate pleasure of getting stuck with the Goombas from Staten Island. And we hung out, and you bowled with us, and you were shooting the breeze and talking like you were one of the guys, like you kind of knew us for 100 years. And it was so comforting to see. And we were breaking your horns a bit when you didn't strike, but you were giving it back to us too. So it was a lot of fun, and we enjoyed bowling, with you. So
well, thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate it. Now, I love to I'm not the best at giving jabs. I think some of the guys on tour like Barnes and Stu and a few others are really good at it.
Oh, yeah.
But if we're having a beer or we're bowling Pro-Am or whatever that's going on, every now and then I'll fire one out that's pretty good. So
yeah, you had a couple of good ones, and I think one of them might have been directed at me because I bowled a no-tap 300 because it was the no-tap. And after my last shot, I think it crossed, and it was a terrible shot. And I came back, and you said to me, "So tomorrow morning, are you bowling B squad or are you bowling the C squad?" I'm like, all right, that's enough of that. But it was a lot of fun. It was good. So
at least you're going to get 9.
Oh, listen, that's Sean, you nailed it, because I am the king of the 9 count around here. If everything was a no tap, I'd have 9,300s because I do nothing but leave 10 pins.
You're the pro shop guy, right? Like
No.
Well, that's a good thing that you're not.
Yeah, no, it's true. They'd be out of business already if I was a pro shop guy, believe me.
I want the pro shop guy drilling my ball that throws strikes, not get 9.
It's not, believe me, it's not his fault. There's that old saying, it's not the Indian. No, it's not the arrow, it's the Indian. So, it's me throwing it. So it's all me. I have about a rev and a half on my ball. That's about it. So hence all of the 10 pins.
Just wait till you get older. You won't have any left.
Yeah, I'm halfway there, pal. I'm halfway there already. But so tell us what it was like growing up in Anchorage, Alaska. I mean, here in New York, we have bowling centers, or we used to have more, but we have bowling centers, just about everywhere. Whether you're in Brooklyn, you're in Staten Island, you're in the Bronx, whatever. What is it like out there? What was it like kind of growing up there in that part of the world?
Yeah, I grew up in Anchorage, Alaska. I moved in 2000, right before I started school at Wichita State. Kind of the same thing where I bowled at Jewel Lake Bowl. My parents bowled at Jewel Lake and Center Bowl. There was 3 or 4 others: South, East 40, South 40, East 40, Eagle River, and now through high school, we lost a couple of them. Jewel Lake and Center Bowl became the main centers. Mm-hmm. Eagle River. But I basically bowled every day. I would bicycle to the bowling center. I lived about probably a half mile to a mile. I would remember putting my 2-ball bag on top of my handle wheels and like holding on to it, unless it was snowing, of course. But I did make some trips in the snow on the bike. But it kept me off the streets. It kept me out of trouble. I'd have to do all my schoolwork before I could go to the bowling center. I would have to be home between 9 and 9:30 at night. Had to be in bed by 10 o'clock on Friday night to be able to bowl league Saturday morning with the kids. And just a great experience. Something to do with mom and dad a couple of days of the week. The competition, whatever the case was, had some really good coaches that weren't, the best physical coaches, but they were, coaches aren't always about the physical game. Sometimes they're just clappers, right? And they're just encouragers and whatnot. So that goes a long way, and that's when you get to the next level, you're starting to look for the physical game, the mental game, and putting everything together. And that's what happened at Wichita State with Gordon and Mark, where Mark did the physical stuff. Gordon did more of the mental stuff. And then luckily for me, I was able to be a part of junior and adult Team USA, and I got to bounce some ideas off some of the best coaches like Fred Borden and whatnot. So I've been very fortunate to be around some of the best coaches in the world through my entire career. But realistically, I've learned a lot on tour, just kind of keeping my ears open. I was joking around with Barnes a couple weeks ago where I said that the kids should listen more, and he kind of laughed because I didn't listen as a kid. I would listen to what Chris and Pete and Norm and Parker and all them would say, and I would just, kind of store it in the back of my mind that, man, I really need to do this in practice mode, or when I'm competing or traveling, how to live the life in and out around the world. So some great information from those experienced players, so to say. But like I said, I've been very blessed to be around a lot of great coaches and players so far in my career.
And you talk about your parents, and I have to say, over the years, it's always it's great to see that they wholeheartedly support you, but they come out and watch, and the emotions over the years at different moments when you have them sitting there, it's just, you could see that special bond that you have, and for them to have the ability to come and watch you is pretty cool to see from the outside.
It is, for sure.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I mean, my parents and I are extremely close. We tell each other just about everything. It's unbelievable. Some people kind of laugh some of the things we say when we're in public having a drink, out of the bowling center. But I think of the clip where EJ won the world championships and jumped into his dad's arms. I remember doing that when I won my first title in West Virginia. The first thing I did was jump in my dad's arms. And I've done it multiple times because my parents have been around multiple events. When I won the Masters in 2007 at Miller Park, I jumped into my dad's arms. My girlfriend, my wife now, was sitting right next to him, and I completely ignored her. Not on purpose, but it was one of those like, oh shit, I forgot about her. But I was so excited that my dad was there. We were there the whole week together. My wife, Sarah, had driven up from college. She was at Western Illinois at the time. So I think of what EJ did and what I've done, and some other players jumping into their wives' or parents' arms, of just enjoying that moment. You see it in golf a lot. You don't get to see it in the team sports, so to say, because of they're celebrating with their teammates. But very blessed and thankful to have mom and dad still around. They travel quite a bit when we can. They were both in Vegas with me in March. They went to Columbus for the one event. They drove over to the TSC show. And then, they kind of take turns with the travel now, because now they help out with babysitting the grandkids.
Yep. Well, that's part of their job now. That's part of the role now. So
Right.
Sean, I'm going to stick with our friend Rob Butler.
Okay.
He has another question. I'm going to put one of my questions aside for my good friend Rob.
Well,
so Rob,
you just mentioned it, so it ties right into this.
So Rob wants to know, can you talk about the experience of bowling at Miller Park during the Masters final?
Yeah, so this was like the second event in an arena setting since they started the new tour in 2000 with the new owners. Now we have new owners, of course, but they had been there in 2004 with Danny Wiseman. When he won, and then I was able to win in 2007. But just a great experience, because I played baseball as a kid growing up, and it's something that I wanted to do. I was clocked at 88, 90 miles an hour when I was 16 years old, but growing up in Alaska, you don't get a whole lot of opportunities, and you don't get looked at very often. So being in the baseball setting, seeing this, the dugouts, and getting around to go around all the parts of the field was really, really cool. Having, 2,000-3,000 people in the stands. My dad, my wife at the time, or my girlfriend, wife now, Sarah, also, front row and forever away, it seemed like. But what a really cool experience. Very, very lucky to win. I had a Brooklyn in the third or fourth frame against Steve Jaros. And Steve Jaros bowled 803 or 813 that day.
I remember that.
I remember just bowling. It felt like I was bowling league, just having a blast. And it was my fourth win in a row. I just remember, putting on a show. That was one of the things that Steve Miller always said was, hey, we don't care if you win or lose. Put on a show. Keep our fans happy. That brings sponsors and ratings in, and you'll be taken care of. So The goal was to put on a show, and I was able to put on a pretty good show that day.
Yeah, you certainly did. And listen, a crossover of Brooklyn and Jersey, it's a line drive in the book. That's an old baseball analogy, right?
Yeah.
So,
I didn't get penalized for it, so I'm okay.
that's right. That's right. So sticking with the Masters theme, Sean, in 2003, you bowled your first pro event as an amateur in the 2003 Masters. You came in 7th place. Was it that point where you said to yourself, you know what? I belong here, and I think I could do this for the rest of my life?
Not at all. So I turned adult. I didn't start bowling for money until the week prior to that in Alaska. I was home for my Sean Rash Stars of the Future scholarship event. I bowled that event that day, turned adult that night, bowled league with my dad, and then we flew to Vegas or Reno a couple days later for the Masters. And I won my first couple of matches. Then I lost, I believe, in the round of 16. Won another match, and then lost again. I want to say I lost to Norm Duke, and then I lost to I can't remember. I think it was Mike Miller. I think I beat Mike Miller in around 7 and 8, but I lost. I think I lost to Timmy Mack. But I was basically one match away from bowling for the show.
Right, getting them.
Yeah, if I would have beat, I think it was around of 16 or around of 8. Or it was round of 16. If I would have won the round of 16, I was in the round of 8 and was one match from making the show, or 2 matches realistically. Just an unbelievable experience. I was like, oh, I can make some money, but I never thought I would go to college until I started winning the Youth Coca-Cola Championships in Alaska. I met Gordon in 1998. I had no idea about PBA history until I went to Wichita. I knew some of the names, but it just wasn't a focal point. I was more interested in baseball and everything else, and I always thought I would run my parents' real estate business that was very successful out of high school. I never thought I would, move to Kansas, so to say. And I lived there for a decade. I mean, it was some of the best years of my life, and I was able to, start competing. I started driving to Dallas every weekend to compete. I was basically at Chris and Linda Barnes' house almost every other weekend, bowling in a tournament.
Nice. So what was it then when you turned pro? What do you think was that moment where you said to yourself, I definitely belong here, and I'm one of these guys, and I can go on to have a long, successful career?
I think it was the breakthrough at West Virginia when I finally won. I got my card in 2005. I didn't bowl good at trials. I bowled all the rabbit squads. I was like the alternate 6 or 7 times, and I finally got through in Atlanta. Missed match play by a few pins, and then the next week I made it again. I was like, wow, I can do this. I can compete. And through that match play, I beat the Turtle, I beat Mike Fagan, and I beat Walter Ray in the round of 8 to make the show. And I threw some big shots to force Mike Devaney to double to win. And it just was like, okay, now I can do it. I got my first contract in 2002 as an amateur, which kind of helped, getting some free bowling balls and some help from the pros. Chris Barnes was on the same staff at the time, and now here we are again on the same staff, a different company. But just getting help at that time. But it really took me a while to learn what it was like to be on tour. Living out of a suitcase, eating out every day. It takes a toll on your body, and that's probably why my back is as bad as it is now. And the injuries I've had is because of traveling the world the way we travel.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess I have to ask Sean the question I ask all the other pro bowlers that we've had on. Sean, who is that proverbial opponent that's like the stone in your shoe, the guy that you're like, oh no, it's him again. I got to ratchet my game up to level A+ because he's going to come at me with everything he's got. Who's that one person that you always seem to have that butting heads with?
I probably have 3 or 4 of them, but the biggest one is the lane itself, honestly. Because the lane is constantly changing, and the next one would be my head. I've wanted to beat certain players more than others. I've always wanted to beat Pete Weber. I've always wanted to beat Chris Barnes, Mika Koivuniemi, Jason Belmonte. I've always wanted to beat the best bowlers in the world because, if you beat the best, you are the best. I've always had that saying. So if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And so you sometimes put in too much energy to try to beat that opponent, and you can't do that. You've got to focus on yourself, make the best shots possible. And if they outbowl you that day, they outbowl you. I've had plenty of games on television that I should have won, but I didn't. And I've had some games that I did win and I shouldn't have won. So unfortunately, it's the other way. I wish it was more the way in my favor. But you look at what Walter Ray and Chris Barnes has done, they'd probably have 70 or 80 titles if they would have gotten a few breaks along the way on television.
Sure, for sure. Yeah. Well, thank you. That was an interesting answer. You know,
Nobody said that yet.
Nobody
no, he
said
was
that.
the
We
first
haven't
one
got
to
that.
say that.
Nobody said that.
Kind of liken it to kind of golf, where you're playing the course. You're not playing,
Right,
you know.
exactly.
So, yeah.
And they've alluded to it, but it's
Yeah.
there's always someone that it's just in
But that was a great answer. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you always want to bowl the best player for the title, right? Like when I won this year, I beat Ryan Simonelli. I bowled him 3 times, 4 times on television. I've won it every time. So he hates bowling me on TV. We did deal a few weeks ago with the PBA Players Perspective, but you know he was the best player that week until the TV show. So because I made the show, I wanted to bowl Ryan, right? I wanted to bowl the guy that beat all of us all week. It doesn't matter what, like this week coming up with the tour finals, there's 8 of us, there's 4 in each group. You know, I want to beat the 3 guys in my group, and then I want to beat the guy that wins their group. You know, however it works. But I have to beat the lane to be able to beat them. So if I don't beat the lane, they're going to beat my brains in. So I have to be prepared, whether it's physically, mentally, bowling balls, whatever it is. Like physically, I'm a train wreck right now because I pulled my back 2 weeks ago. Mentally, I feel pretty good because we're going to a facility that I've had some success in and recent success.
Yep.
So, Sean, you won that ESPY for Best Bowler in 2012. How cool was that to be recognized with all these other elite athletes?
Oh, where is it?
There it is.
You talking about this thing?
Show that off proudly. Very, very good. Very good.
That thing's heavy. Man, what an experience to go to the ESPYs a couple times. You know, that year it could have went either way. Jason and I, we were 2 of the best bowlers at the time for multiple years. He's still at the top. I'm probably in the top 5, I would say, maybe top 10. But yeah, what an experience to go to the ESPYs. I took my wife, I took my dad once, just to be, you know, surrounded by greatness in sports and coaches and other celebrities, so to say, and just to kind of live their lifestyle for a few days. I didn't get the greatness days like Barnes and them, where they went to the Playboy Mansion and they played golf 3 or 4 times and all the really good goodie bags. But we got a couple good goodie bags, a couple really good vacations out of it. But the ESPYs is pretty special. What they do with the Jimmy B Foundation and their charity, the after parties, and they treat everybody with respect. Doesn't matter what sport you're in. They do kind of laugh at you a little bit when you say you're a professional bowler. Like, what are you doing here? But you know, if I was ever invited back, I'd go in a heartbeat. I've always told everyone that's been invited since I've known about it to always go. And they laugh at me. They're like, "Well, you know, it's going to cost me a couple grand. What's a couple $1,000s to experience something like that? Sign me up. I'll go tomorrow."
Yeah, that's awesome. So I was going to ask you about your display back there. But you've got you got some cool memorabilia. What's your most prized possession that's sitting on that shelf there?
Well, this is actually my dry bar. So,
wait, the bar itself is the possession.
I would say this is one of the coolest things I have there. You guys can see that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Tony Reyes, unfortunately, passed away now.
Yep.
It's been 7 or 8 years. One of the greatest guys I know. I was with him 3 weeks before he passed, but he signed this to me, I think, right before I turned pro. Or well, he was already pro, right? I was already pro, but this is when he was shooting 300. This is Parker Bone here on the side. This was during his, his 300 and win, his first win. But keep this down here. And I've got a few other good ones on this table, but so a lot of the stuff that was in my old office is now down here in our basement because my old office is turning into our 3rd child's room. So we started putting up some trophies that were whatever. It's kind of a cool display. This is my little section in the basement. And there's stuff everywhere down here. But my wife was like, hey, you need a little backdrop and whatnot. So we've got the TSC 50th anniversary poster up here. I just put up the Milwaukee Brewers City jersey last night with my announcement that I had last night. And then I've got a couple of really good trophies there. The USBC Masters trophy is on this side, right behind me.
Yep.
My most recent win actually is right behind me. Right there. That's the one from Oklahoma. Another one from Oklahoma, a couple from Detroit. So, and then the big silver one's the Summer Clash. So some really, really cool trophies there and memorabilia. But the first one you never forget. It's in our extra bedroom down here. You know, that trophy is one of probably the most special ones to me.
So tell us about your announcement last night.
Yeah, so something I've wanted to do for a long time. I've always wanted a way to be associated with a charity. First and foremost, I think we don't do enough of that. I think that would get us some more sponsors and more opportunities for all kinds of things, honestly. I wanted to announce this a few months ago because the PBA League was supposed to be next week. That has been postponed, of course, because of COVID. It's been set for September 27th and 28th. Hopefully we'll have 200 to 250 fans in the state at that time in the bowling center. Right now they're allowed, I think, 50 to 100. And Bayside's very unique if you haven't been there, right? Where you got 12 lanes on one side, 8 lanes on the other. The 8 lanes where all the TV stuff, they have a second shelf level to where people can stand up there too. So I really think this will take place. But with my sponsors, with 900 Global, you know, working with the PBA, working with Bayside, and then working with Strikeout Breast Cancer and Donna Connors, I put together a raffle. So we're going to be selling $10 tickets, 6 for $50. And I'm actually going to post that up here about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Hopefully I'm going to do it as soon as we get done with this. I made 1,000 of these. Hopefully sell 100 or 1,000, make $10,000 in charitable money for the Strikeout Breast Cancer. But it's a winter expense paid trip to Portland, Maine. You and a guest, so it could be, you know, Frank and Joe, or Joe and the pro shop guy, or whoever. All expenses paid. You know, a couple nights of hotel, a car, food. Anybody can win. Somebody overseas win. We're going to cap the airfare at $500 a piece, just because if somebody from Australia won, it might cost me $3,000 for the flight. But 900 Global is going to donate bowling balls. They're going to get all of the new balls that are coming out August 28th, and a plastic ball in a couple bags. We're going to get them one of these Milwaukee Brewer jerseys, and they're going to be an honorary member of the expansion team and get a chance to hang out with 60 of the best bowlers in the world, 11 of the best coaches and managers, and just experience in my mind, one of the most electrifying events we have all year in our entire sport.
That's great.
That's awesome. So this is, you made the announcement yesterday on your Facebook page. So right, is this where you buy the raffle tickets also?
Yeah, so I'm gonna sell raffle tickets through my PayPal account, my personal one, of course. We're gonna keep a spreadsheet on Excel. Donna Connors is also gonna be selling raffle tickets through her pro shop in Houston through the Striking Against Breast Cancer, whatever they have, however they do it. So, because she's currently also doing, because the Lucy's been postponed, they're raising money for Striking Against Breast Cancer still. For a couple more weeks, you can buy raffle tickets for a lawnmower tractor that's phenomenal. So if you go to their page and check that out. But we're going to announce the winner on September 6th, give them 3 weeks travel notice, which should be enough time. I would guess that more than likely you're going to fly in on a Thursday or Friday. The TV shows are Sunday, Monday. They'll be qualifying. There'll be practice. There'll be plenty of drinks going down, I'm sure, and a great time. And this is all for a great cause, right? So, like I said, this is for the Striking Against Breast Cancer Foundation, an opportunity to let a couple people experience one of the best events our sport has to offer.
Yeah, we've talked about it several times on the show with different guests, and I think it's an awesome opportunity. So visit Sean's Facebook page. You see it's linked here in this post. and check that out. And that video is a video announcement, so you can listen to Sean some more if you want to watch the
Yeah,
video.
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
But the details are there. Hey, Sean. So this is our 25th anniversary here at Rabs, and so we've been shut down for about half of it now. But we've been showing some old photos, and so today's old photo. Now my office, behind my desk, the magic desk usually looks like your bar there, but we've been cleaning. But one of the things on my desk is this bowling pin, and this is from your first visit here at Rabs. I don't know. This is from Junior Team USA. You guys came and did an exhibition and clinic over the weekend. I don't know what year this was, but you could tell that's clearly a really early Sean Rash signature.
That was like 2002, 3, 4 time frame. Man, that's a long time ago. I remember going there. It was snowy. We were all like, where the hell is this bowling center at? We couldn't find it. Didn't know where to park. And I remember going down the stairs with the guardrail and everything else, which I think is still there. I think I can still see it there in the background.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we were just there recently, right? Within the last 4 or 5 years when we did our camp there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great times. Good. Hopefully, be back when you guys are open. And
yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll certainly have you back, and we'll be planning a clinic. We have a lot of clinics to plan. We have a lot of events to plan when we know we could actually open, which we have zero guidance for. So that's another conversation.
Yeah, no, I feel for you guys in New York. Illinois, actually, the proprietors just sued our governor yesterday. Our capacity in bowling centers are 50 people max. Doesn't matter what size lane, if it's 8 lanes or 84 lanes. So as you can think of, Stardust in Addison's very upset. My bowling center that I work at and practice at Parkside is 54 lanes. So if you had 50 people in there, you kind of look like you're like, what am I doing being open? So a lot of unanswered questions, but they opened the casinos on July 1st at 50% capacity. So they need their money. The state does. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the lawsuit. Hopefully they get us to 50% capacity. Illinois has done a really good job with decline and being safe and being smart during this pandemic. But at the same time, it's crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, and bowling centers in Illinois can be considered casinos. I mean, you can have slot machines inside your bar. I mean, so there's
we have 6 of them at Parkside. I know Jeff Johnson out in Freeport has a few. They're everywhere. So they were really happy when those opened up July 1st because they make revenue off of that as well. But the casinos being open, our biggest complaint right now, the Walgreens down the street from Parkside Lanes, you could probably fit 3 or 4 of them in Parkside, and their capacity is 109 people. And they're in aisles, right? So, it just does not make sense for what's going on. But very thankful that the bowling centers have opened to allow me to practice a little bit and get kind of ready for this weekend's events.
That's great.
So, pressing question here. The bowling community wants to know your favorite Italian ice.
Favorite Italian ice or meal?
Italian ice.
Italian
Meal
ice.
is next.
Yeah, the meal's next.
Honestly, I don't even have Italian ice very often, only when I come to New York. And I normally just tell them to get me like cherry or strawberry or something sweet.
Cherry's good. Yeah, cherry's good. Yeah,
cherry.
Yeah, everybody likes cherries. Italian meal, though, like I'm a big fan of chicken parmesan and fettuccine alfredo and a nice glass of red wine.
Staples right there, Sean. Those are staples.
Staples of the Italian American meal, for sure.
Italian cuisine.
The funny thing is, you cannot get chicken parm in Italy.
No, it doesn't exist.
No, because it's not there.
It's an American invention.
Meat. They don't put meat in. No.
Yeah,
it is an American thing.
That's true.
And the thing, if you think about what happened years ago, they came here.
Yeah.
They had these very large families, so they had to figure out to feed.
You gotta wing it.
10 kids.
Yeah, you gotta wing it. Yeah.
I'm gonna put it all in a pan and figure it out. Yeah. No, you can't get that. They can't get that crap.
I think when Sean does come back, we have to do a couple of things. 1, make sure you bring your golf clubs with you. That's 1.
Yes.
2, we'll take you for a nice big cherry ice, Italian ice. But before we go for the ice, we'll go for a nice big meal, and we'll order all the good Italian stuff that you probably can't get there, but we can get here, and we'll set you up.
There's plenty of Italians in the Chicago area. I can guarantee you that. So I've had some great memories in Italy. I proposed to my wife in Italy back in 2010, 11. So yeah, any Italian food, glass of wine, I'm in. Sign me up.
All right, so now since it's not Italian, your favorite Chicago style pizza.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm supposed to say Lou Malnati's, right? I mean, they're the #1 gang here in town. I've got some friends that are very high up there that, and my brother-in-law actually delivers pizza for him. So we've had Lou's quite a bit over the years. But you know, realistically, pizza's pizza. I know it's different how it's cooked and everything else, but I've got 3 kids and they all love cheese pizza. So as long as I get a cheese pizza, it doesn't matter where it's from for my girl. So I don't know. There's some surprises though out here in the burbs. There's some really good pizza places out here.
Good.
I think one of my favorites is got to be it's Pequod's.
Couldn't tell you. It's probably a city thing.
It's in the city, yeah. Awesome. But Lou's is good, and I've done the Chicago pizza tour, and some of them. And pizza is not pizza, especially when you're from New York, and it's not treated equally.
Well, New York pizza is second rate to Chicago's first rate. So.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we're not going.
There's the competitor in Sean. There's the competitor in him. He's got a Chicago pizza. That's good.
That's hysterical. Hey, all right. I got one last question for you. You've been on Team USA. You had the opportunity to be on Team USA, and favorite place to travel.
Oh, that's a tough one to answer. So, bowling for Team USA. One of my greatest memories was back in like 2003 when we won the World 10-Pin Team Cup in Odense, Denmark. That was back when you earned yourself on the team. Politics weren't as high, and it just what a great experience. Some of my best junior memories were down in the Dominican, Caribbean areas, bowling for them. We went to the Middle East. I got to bowl the World Championships one time. We won the trios, finished second in team. That was pretty special. But traveling around the world, I really love bowling in Asia, even though I'm a very picky eater. Going to Japan, going to Korea. I've had a lot of success in Thailand, and they're unbelievable people. But really love going to Asia.
Yeah.
Everybody's nice.
Yeah,
we should take. We're going to start taking best because everybody has that same. But for the right reasons. I mean, it's just because of everything.
We even asked Nelson Figueroa.
Yeah, right.
The baseball, and he loved it.
Yeah, well, he played there too.
Yeah.
It all depends on what you're in the mood for, right? Like, so if you want to travel overseas and have a good time and drink, you go to Europe.
Right.
You want to travel overseas and bowl for some good money and prestige and honor and everything, you go to Asia. It's unbelievable. And then the Middle East, you know, they ran a bunch of good tournaments for a long time, a lot of money. Don Barrett has made a lot of money in the Middle East. You go there.
That's cool.
There's a challenge here. How about a contest to win a Staten Island pizza tour with Sean?
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Hey, I'm in. Sign me up. Just let me know who's going to get me there.
I like that idea.
That sounds good. And if we went to Danino's, you got the Ralph's Ices right across
Right
the
across
street, so we could hook it up.
There might be something there. I like that.
Yeah, that's an idea.
Masks required these days.
Right.
Hey, Sean, thank you so much for dropping in with us and being a part of our show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. You guys are hilarious. I always try to tune in for a couple minutes during the week. Thanks for what you're doing, and hopefully I hear some good news and you guys open up soon. I feel for the whole country. I feel for our sport and everyone that's going through these tough times. But I think, not a politician, but I think November 4th or 5th, I think a lot more of us will be happy.
Yeah.
That's been a very popular theme.
Yes. On that note,
you live in a Democratic state like I do, so I think we want to move to a Republican state, but I have a feeling some of these Republican states are going through some issues right now as well. And like I said, I just can't wait for all of us to get back to somewhat normalcy. If it requires masks, it requires masks. So
That's right.
We're with you. We're absolutely with you. And Sean, good luck to you. Good luck.
Good luck the rest of the way.
We'll be
thanks. Yeah, don't forget, I'm just gonna say last things. I'm gonna make my announcement with the raffle tickets today through all my social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then tune into the PBA. They have an announcement today. I don't even know if it's gone yet. I think it has. They've got some news. Unfortunate to hear about USBC, but at the same time, great news with the PBA this weekend. PBA Tour Finals on CBS Sport Network, and then the PBA King of Lanes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. So 5 days of television with a lot of the best bowlers in the world. So we're going to be on TV. It's great for our sport. Whether you like us or hate us, it's good for our sport.
It certainly is. That's awesome. Thanks, Sean. We'll talk to you and see you.
Keep
care,
those
Sean.
opinions coming.
Nah.
I'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Sean Rash, everybody.
Great.
The PBA did just announce, and I don't know if this is what he's alluding to, but they have been kind of teasing the PBA Junior championships, and so they've now launched a couple of regional events. PBA Junior National Championships that are planning to be happening in September. So PBA.com for those details. And Sean did talk a little bit about USBC, and we didn't get a chance to grab it, but right now live on the USBC Facebook page, Chad Murphy's there. They're with a special show. They announced this morning the cancellation of their events through the fall. So it's the first time since World War II there won't be an Open Championships, women's championships.
No, they tried to keep pushing it off.
They're doing the right thing, though.
To try to have it, but
So
listen, especially with what's going on now.
Yeah, you
sure.
Which is
Chad was on our show earlier. Back in March, you can go back, and even if you go back and watch his interview and the stuff that they've shared, they really have, to your point, they have tried so hard to get that event off the ground, and it means to the organization, it's a big thing. I mean, it's budgetary, it does have financial impact to the organization,
and to the people that go to it,
and the
every
people
year.
that certainly, we
big.
normally bowl before the USBC convention, and we put off our trip, of course, and we didn't even rebook for this year because we weren't sure. So kind of missing out on the Reno experience this year, but because of what's happening today with the travel bans and just the growing cases, it's just not possible to make travel plans and not know, or even if you weren't able to make travel plans, it's the unknown. So, and it includes USBC Collegiate. So no fault. USBC Collegiate won't certify college bowling events through the fall. I personally, I believe, hey, wintertime comes, we might be having a different conversation.
Maybe.
And it's more for the point structure. And when Wacky was on the show, St. John's, he kind of talked a little bit about this too.
Yes, it did.
Hey, he doesn't know whether they're going to get to go bowl. But if their program can't bowl and another program can, how fair is that?
Fair is that?
Not fair.
So, and I think these are all the things that have been taken into consideration.
There's a lot to weigh, a lot of considerations that, if you're caught up in just what's going on with you, you're not looking at the full picture. It affects so many people.
It's so many different
avenues. And it's interesting because that does also impact the USA Bowling Regional Tournament that was to take place here this fall. So that won't take place here in the fall. I don't know. We'll find out more. While we were on the show, Zach Barton was calling to talk about that. So I don't know if that's going to be moved to the spring. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing there. But as of today, that event in the fall won't happen as we get back up and running. So tune into their Facebook page today and check out the announcement and get more information. We just want what's best for everybody.
Absolutely.
I'm concerned. There are a couple of events happening in the next few weeks. Team Masters is still going on as planned. A couple of our youth bowlers have made the point they want that they're going to bowl. The Storm Youth Championships are forging ahead within the next month. But with these travel bans, it just doesn't seem feasible or possible, and you want people to be safe. So I'm not sure what that looks like for the next. Month.
It would be so much easier if we knew that everybody had the same thoughts. Everybody was on the same page, in other words, with safety and doing what's right. But you just know. I mean, listen, all you need to do is take a walk and see people with masks,
very haphazard.
gathering. Although we're pretty lucky here in New York, people for the most part, at least here on Staten Island, are being pretty good about it. But there's other parts of the country that they're just, I don't know. It's a scary thing. if I had young kids now, I don't think that that's, as much as I know it's something that they want, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's very tough. It's a tough decision to make us.
So we'll see.
It's
We'll see what
very-
that looks like over the next month or
Yeah.
so.
It's very unsettling.
With the announcement from
Tough
USDC,
decisions.
I would imagine others are taking that into consideration.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean, for coming on. And
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you, Sean.
Sean, we kind of
Yeah,
laugh
good.
about it, but Sean has been very vocal. He's very opinionated,
Yeah.
and it's not a.
I love
We-
that about him.
Yeah.
But I love
I
that.
laugh about this, and I've had the conversation with him. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but hey, he just to me he's keeping it real.
Yes.
No
Yes,
filter.
keeping it real.
He
Yep.
it just tells you as it is, and we appreciate him for
We need
coming
people
on
in the
and-
world
and doing
like that.
Yes. Every
And
generation.
you know what? If
has
it makes
that.
us uncomfortable, maybe we need to be.
maybe it's
maybe
sometimes
we
the
need
truth
to-
hurts.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to squirm a
Maybe,
little bit.
yeah,
so,
maybe people need to think a little more.
Yeah.
You know, but if you think about it, go back over time, every generation has had that bowler or bowlers that have been the guys that are the vocal,
Oh, yeah.
whether it was
Yeah.
Marshall
Yeah.
Holman
Right.
or it was Ernie
That's nothing
Schlegel
new.
or
Right.
Sean. Right. I'm just saying that. So it's good. That's what you need.
I just laugh. He still talks about him being an old guy,
Yeah.
but I understand to the
I'll
point
sign up for
because
37.
right.
Look at what he's
But it's
competing.
competing
Yeah,
against
exactly.
these young guys,
Yeah.
and we've talked about that a lot on the show. So
Yep.
you can go back to other interviews with other bowlers. Andrew,
Yeah.
we talked about again.
Yeah.
Andrew Anderson's a
Andrew's
great example of
Yeah.
that. One of
Yeah.
the younger guys out
Yep.
there doing his thing,
Yep.
and by all means, he had different perspective on the younger, older type
Yes.
conversation.
From a very
But
young
I
guy.
thought that Sean made some really, really
He did.
smart observations
He
about
definitely did.
the image, about
Yeah.
image, and he's right. The way that would, there are ways to attract, bigger sponsors.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's all another.
that's a whole other
That's a whole other
conversation.
episode.
That's a whole other show.
And it's
Yeah,
not. It's really not just image, though.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things
other
to take
things
into consideration.
involved.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
today it's even harder. So the
yeah.
PBA made a decision to move to Fox. A great deal, and lots of exposure. We're on network TV for the
Yeah.
majors.
It's great.
You've got Fox Sports 1. I mean, it certainly changes the element, and you
Right.
see it in watching. But today now, of course, advertising dollars are different. Tight. It's a different animal.
Yeah.
You're seeing. I like when they talk about brands protesting or Facebook.
Yeah.
They're not doing. They're just not spending the money. I mean, look. I look at our marketing budget and go, "Hey, we
Right.
don't have the money to spend in that
That's it.
space. We're just not doing it." It's
Right.
not that I maybe some certainly don't agree with what they do, but at the same time, it's
Maybe
really
they're
more
just
about
using that. Maybe
they're using it as an
an
excuse. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway,
That's true.
hey, so we've also been sharing a meme of the day, and this meme of the day, you know what? It's kind of in the same theme of yesterday's meme of the day.
It
You know,
is.
a little bit more uplifting,
Yeah.
but kind of funny at the same time. This one comes from the one and only Joe Cal.
I found it. I
Ah.
said, "This is apropos. This is an apropos."
You know how hard it
meme.
is. No, I can't read it.
It says,
How
and
hard
we're
it is.
talking about huggers because we are
Yeah.
huggers, Naz.
"We are not
Pray
okay."
for the huggers.
Right. Pray for us. We are not okay. You know how hard it is to when you want to hug someone and you're a
Oh.
hugger at heart. The struggle is real.
Oh yeah.
The struggle is real.
I will
Yep.
tell you personally, and I don't know. I'm hoping the person that I'm seeing doesn't feel that way. I feel so awkward.
Right.
It's like because normally
Yeah.
you would hug the person hello,
Yes.
and it's like
Yes,
it's almost like there's that awkward
it's
just
hesitance.
standing
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had a couple of handshakes in the last week,
I have too.
and that's
I
been a
have to.
little.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And I actually been in a position where I actually put my hand out and I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't really like this
Yeah,
to begin
yeah.
with.
Yeah. It's a
Um,
reflex though. It's a
You know,
reflex.
in this
I
specific
can't,
case, I
you
met
know.
these young ladies who are daughters of a friend, and I'm like, I'm not going in for the
Yeah.
hug. I don't know you. And, it's
Right.
like, oh. And then it's a little awkward to do the pound. So
Yeah,
um,
the pound is
the hug thing, though, in
Yeah.
company, we do it. You know what we do? Are we allowed to hug? We kind of
Yeah,
make a joke. We're allowed to
yeah.
hug. We're not allowed to hug.
Right,
We're not allowed to hug. No problem.
No problem.
And I've only had one person say, "Nah, no, don't bother." Like, this,
Yeah.
everybody else has kind of went in for it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
It depends on the individual.
just
Yeah.
be like Harry and just wear your mask.
Yes, that's right. Keep that mask on. Keep it on.
Hey, so today is Wednesday, Pro Bowler Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday.
Mhm.
And as tradition here on Live from Rabs, we talk food and we welcome our friend Pam Silvestri.
Mhm.
And we are we've been going on the road, al fresco style. So we're going to visit some neighborhood
joint-
restaurant
some joint
tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll talk some food. We'll eat some food. We'll talk with Pam. Pam is back to work.
Yep,
She was,
I've been reading.
she was off. Today she was live
What's his name? DeLucas.
from DeLucas.
Oh,
So
DeLucas.
she
Way out there.
ventured off the
Pottenville.
North Shore. I was
Yes, she
impressed
did.
because she's
Yeah.
a North Shore
She
got
gal.
out.
she crossed over the expressway.
She did. Well, a lot of times it has to do with the kids. The kids are
Right.
going here and there.
Right.
So tomorrow, tune in, same time at noon, where Pam Silvestri will be our co-hosts at this point, and we'll
Yes.
talk whatever it is going
Make
on
sure
in the
she has a
food.
loud microphone.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Friday, we end the week on Friday now, Joe. I'm sorry. It's
That's
just
okay. Listen,
Monday to
you know,
Friday at 12 noon.
That's okay.
Right. Friday, our friends from the JCC are going to come on, and we're going to talk
Very
about what's
excited
going on
about
there.
Very good.
They've been doing a lot during this time, virtually, non-virtually, and it's tough because you can't enter the facility
Mhm.
Yeah.
and take advantage of all the services. So
Yeah.
we'll
That's
talk
a
with them. And
beautiful facility.
Ms. Shama is going to join us
Very good.
on Friday.
Very cool.
You never know what's going to happen here.
You never
on
know.
Never know.
Live from Raps.
You
And then we
never
got a
know.
whole new week. Joe, episode 104.
I know. 104, like 104.3. Q 104.3.
Oh, I
Plays
like
all
that
the hits.
station.
Plays all the hits. Yeah, but funny thing is, as crazy as work has been, I find that music is what keeps you grounded,
You can hang out
And
with my husband Ray.
settles the soul. Right.
Very
So
true.
Yeah.
this morning, the minute I got up and I logged in, it was boom, 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 one thing after another. I'm like, all right, take a deep breath. Pins and
Right.
needles, needles and pins. Happy man is a
woman,
man that
woman
grins.
Right.
So I put music choice on the television, and of course I went to the 70s, my era for us older folk, right? And what's the first song that came on? I was like, thank you. My favorite John Lennon song of all time, Whatever Gets You Through the Night.
Oh, really? That's your
19-
favorite?
1974. Well, not with with John
What?
Lennon
No,
as a
John
solo,
Lennon.
John Lennon.
without the Beatles, but yeah, Whatever
John
Gets
and
You Through the
Yoko.
Night. Yes, John and Yoko. And I heard that, and I'm like, it's going to be a good day. And then after
Yeah.
that, ELO came on, so I'm like, oh, I'm 17 again. So it was good. Yep. It was good.
17 with the girlfriend
Did
in the
you
back seat.
Yeah.
Did you happen to go see them when they were at St. George Theater?
Who's that?
ELO?
ELO, no, I didn't. I missed them.
All right.
I missed them, but I wanted to go, but no,
Yeah.
I saw them at Madison Square
A
Garden
long
like
time ago.
years ago, but yeah. Yep, love them. So, yeah.
Joe, it's been a pleasure having you back in studio.
I
It's
love
been
having
very
Joe
good
here.
to be back. It's been good to be back with my
He's
friends.
like our
Yoda?
it's like our baby Yoda.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I can't.
So it's good to be
I
back.
can't get Disney out of my head.
Yeah, right.
I'm still going over the show in my head.
My nose is itchy. I don't know why.
Allergies probably.
You know, there's an old Italian thing about if your nose is itchy, that means you're going to come into money or something.
Isn't
Oh,
that, no,
so-
isn't this a fight? Isn't the which one?
I think the hand itchy is a fight, and I don't know. I had like a great grandmother that if you didn't feel good, she used to do what was called the eyes. Someone was giving you the malokia, and she used to say this Italian prayer and take a knife, the back of the knife, and make the sign of the cross on your forehead,
my
and then
God.
throw the knife into the corner, and don't touch the knife. God forbid, all the evil was on that knife. Okay, but the knife is sitting on the kitchen floor. Don't you want me to pick it up? No.
So how long
Okay.
did it stay there before somebody picked it up?
Days. It stayed there for
Days?
days because the evil was on that knife. When I was doing stand-up comedy, I did a whole bit about when I was a kid about going to see my great-grandmother, and all I had to do was say, I don't feel good. And it was, get the knife, let me sit down, let me say the prayer in Italian. And I don't know what was going on, but I just remember the knife going across the room.
Just the knife, no bitters. I'm sure they did the no
Probably. I just remember that knife.
The
Don't
knife?
touch it.
Terrible.
Don't touch
If I
the
was a
knife.
kid, that would stick out of my head too.
Yep, the malokia. So, but yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. And Sean's calling me out. Yes, Sean, I will be buying some Apple tickets. And I hope everybody else does support as well.
Very good.
Visit Sean's Facebook page. Hey,
Very good.
another awesome show. Yesterday you had a new one yesterday. Tell him the
Oh, the little notification bell on your YouTube. Yes.
So not only do we
after
want you to like and subscribe.
and follow and subscribe, click that little notification bell so you find out
Ring the bell.
when we are live.
Ooh. Smash the like button. Tell your friends. Share along. We're back here tomorrow. Joe will be back at some point.
I'll be back eventually.
The door's always open, Joe.
Yeah,
Thank
whenever you can. I'd like to have it here.
And we're going to close today's show. We've got excuse me.
It's gonna burp.
We've had some special messages from our friends that have been on the show. And so here's one from the one and only Mr. 300, Bob Learns.
Mr. 300.
And until then, we'll see you tomorrow.
Who
Ciao.
celebrated his birthday with us.
Yes,
We
that's
did.
right. We had the cake. It was great.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Guys, I understand that today's your 100th episode at Live at Rabs. I enjoyed my time with you guys on air, and I've listened into a lot of your interviews, and I can just say it was a great time listening to a lot of the conversation that you guys had. Just want to say congratulations. Great job.